folks, and this time we are looking at the AMX ELC BIS, the Tier 5 French light tank, but it's not really much of a light tank. I mean, it's certainly a light tank, the thing weighs like 6 tons, but really, in a lot of ways, it doesn't behave like a light tank at all, and a large part of why is due to the fact that it doesn't have a turret. I mean, it has a turret, but it's a pseudo turret. It only turns something like 10 degrees either way, which you'll find is rather devastating. Oh, and before you get too excited, the turret can still be broken, so in that respect, it's actually worse than an unturreted tank destroyer. But if you think that a pseudo-turret tank destroyer is weird, then let me tell you what it was like in real life. It was designed to be airlifted to soldiers that were parachuted in, and it was made to be capable of combating enemy heavy tanks. The turret could turn all the way around, provided the ELC wasn't moving. If it was moving, you couldn't turn the turret at all. Very strange, but I'm glad Wargaming decided to modify it a little bit, otherwise it would be significantly harder to play, and probably a great deal less hilarious, if I'm being honest with you. I'm not done with its weirdness either. It only has 2 crew members, and you might be wondering, wait, Ro, where do they sit? First off, who calls me Ro? Secondly, they were both located in the turret. They had their legs and lower bodies in the hull, of course. The ELC is rather small, as I'll talk about later. But you can kill both of them by shots at the turret, which is unorthodox at best. Now, standard procedure to talk about the armor of a tank first, but luckily, since it's the ELC, we can go over this rather quickly. Armor? What armor? I'm working on a theory at the moment that the ELC is actually made out of cardboard, and it's just been painted over to look like it's metallic. But at the very least, I can assure you that you won't be bouncing anything due to armor thickness. But there are 2 things worth mentioning. First is that the tank is very well sloped, which for anything with a significant caliber gun is not an issue at all, since anything above a 50mm cannon will overmatch the armor regardless of the angle. Overmatching just means basically that the armor is so thin compared to the shell that no angling will save you. But for some fast-firing autoloaders like the Lukes and the Leopard, you will bounce a few shots. It's still going to hurt a lot when it unloads a clip into you, but not nearly as much as it would another Tier 5 light. Secondly, it might have no armor, but it does have those tracks. Tracks? Hiroku, you fucking drongo, tracks aren't armor. Ah, but yes they are. Behold, as I take 0 damage repeatedly due to those magnificent cogs on the sides of the tank. Now look, if you can angle the tank at 45 degrees or so, there's a chance that the enemy will shoot, and either the tracks will simply eat the shell like it's mum's spaghetti, or they'll shoot through the rear of the track and it'll keep going and promptly miss the tank itself. The former will happen rather frequently with heat ammunition, if anyone is dumb enough to fire it, because heat isn't a fan of spaced armor, since those kinds of shells, they stop as soon as they collide with something, and tracks are spaced armor, so it stops at the track. Mate, I shit you not, I've had a Rheinmetall Borsig, Tier 8 tank destroyer, fire a heat round from his dirty old 150mm beast, and he knocked off my tracks and did no damage. That creature has 750 average damage. A decent roll from it is enough to kill 2 ELCs, and the sorry bastard only hit my tracks. I wish I had that replay to prove it, but I'm afraid you're just going to have to trust me. Well, armor took a bit longer than I thought, but so did this video. How do I know this video is long? ESP? Anyway, the 90mm gun on the ELC is the best thing about... Okay, no it's not, but it's a close second. Okay, no, it's a strong third. We'll stick with a strong third. Before I start singing its praises though, I feel it's important to say that it has a painfully long reload of 12 seconds base. In the time it takes you to reload, most Tier 4 light tanks can kill you. Pretty much any Tier 5 light, except another ELC or the Leopard, definitely can. Combine that with the whole no turret thing, and you've quite possibly got the single worst light tank killer in-game. On top of this, the aiming time is as excruciating as the reload, sitting up at 2.9 seconds. The number is potentially meaningless to you, so let me put it in perspective. Heavy tanks have very long aiming times, and my go-to heavy in this situation is the Tiger. The 88mm gun on that thing has an aiming time of 2.7 seconds. That's faster than the ELC. Oh dear. So yeah, nah, if you want to fire the gun, you're going to have to sit for a while or just get really close, and I'll explain that last a little bit later. Now, I've been pretty harsh on the ELC's gun, yet I said it was the third best thing about the machine, so I should probably tell you what makes it so great. First off, it may take you 12 seconds to reload, but your average damage is 240, which used to be the highest an AP shell in Tier 5 could do. Now the OI experimental is a thing, and as is the usual with the Japanese, they come along and ruin everything. I'm looking at you, anime. I am, of course, making this joke while I have a Japanese username, so if that doesn't tell you it's a joke, then I really don't know what will. Not that it'll stop anyone from commenting that I suck dick. Anyway, it's not just alpha damage. The penetration with your dirt cheap AP ammunition is 170mm. Wait, 170mm? That's enough to rip straight through the front of almost all Tier 7 heavies, and you're in a minuscule little light tank. Impressive, right? Well, you haven't even heard about the premium ammunition. For the small price of for the small price of 4,800 credits, you get an APCR shell with, wait for it, 248mm of penetration. Think about that for a second. 248. So, disregarding the fact that that's way more than any other premium shell in Tier 5, discounting artillery heat, let's put that into perspective. The Ferdinand... Oh, look! My review for the Ferdinand. How'd that get there? The Ferdinand, a Tier 8 tank destroyer, has 246mm of penetration. Wait up. 246. That's less than 248. Well, shit, eh? Anything that the Ferdy can pen without using its premium ammo, the ELC can pen with. That's a scary thought, because a Ferdinand can penetrate the weakest point on the front of a mouse, and thus so can the ELC. I'm not taking the piss, mate. The ELC can pen the front of a mouse. See? That is, of course, completely arbitrary and superfluous, since the worst you'll ever see is Tier 8, but it's impressive, certainly. It has great penetration with that premium ammo, but I don't think I've ever fired the stuff. I carry 5 shells of it, just in case of that one day that I absolutely need it, but after the better part of 1,000 battles in the ELC, I haven't needed it. Pack some, I recommend it, but first let me explain why you don't really need to use it. The 170mm will go through the side of absolutely everything from Tier 5 to Tier 8. Ah, but Hero, I can hear you saying, what if I'm shooting at the front of a Tier 8 heavy like the IS-3? Well, I'll be blunt. If you're shooting at the front of a Tier 8 heavy, then I think you may have made some deeper error. Most of the shells that leave the barrel of this gun should be hitting the sides of machines, simply because light tanks have no place engaging heavy tanks from the front, ELC or no. You should only be shooting at the sides or at weak machines. The last thing I'll mention about the gun for now is that the AP shell velocity is crap, almost 100 meters per second slower than the German 88, sitting around 930 meters per second compared to the Tiger's 1000. So what, right? Well, if you're shooting from long distance, that means you have to aim rather far in front of the enemy as they're moving, since it's going to take longer for that shell to get there. Small side note though, the APCR has an absolute ripper of a shell velocity, sitting at 1,163, just to make sure that it's impossible to get used to. The best thing about... Oh, alright, I missed the second best thing. It's got a pretty good top speed of around 60 km an hour and an excellent power to weight ratio, so it accelerates fast. Well, that was easy. As I was saying, the best thing about the ELC is the size. The thing is tiny, absolutely tiny. On Wikipedia, because I only do the best quality research, it's listed as being 158 centimeters tall. In case you're American, and statistics say that you are, that's 5 foot and 3 inch, a little bit more than that. That's ridiculously short for a tank. That's very short for a person. Okay, now me, I'm upwards of 190 centimeters tall, which is about 6'4". So if you stood me next to an ELC, I would absolutely be looking down on it. And 2 crew members sat in that thing. We'll get the shortest blokes to drive it. What do you reckon, lads? What that size means in World of Tanks is that it has an absolutely exceptional camouflage rating. It scores 15th place on the best stationary camouflage rating of all tanks, and that's going up against tank destroyers, which have excellent camouflage ratings. For light tanks, it scores first place with ease, which means it has got the single best camouflage rating on the move. That's because light tanks get the same base camouflage rating when they're moving as when they're stationary. Sneaky, sneaky tank. Oh, so that is the good thing about being a tiny tank, is it? We're not nearly done yet. Don't be so impatient. When you're this small, there are a few other things that come bundled with it. First off, if you need to hide behind something to avoid fire, even the slightest bumps in the ground will suffice. It's quite possible to be in a relatively small rut in the ground and be entirely invisible. Completely disregarding camouflage here, they literally cannot see you. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is very often a lifesaver. Another big perk of being anything but big, the most amusing of the collection, is how good it is at side hugging. You can cruise up to a tank that's either tall or has mech gun depression and just sit there, completely safe. That is, unless it can ram you, since being rammed in this thing hurts an awful lot. A few light tanks can do this, but none better than the ELC. There are some medium tanks that don't even have the gun depression to shoot down at you, but it's definitely a matter of recognizing which tanks can and can't reach you prior to you rushing in to hug their sides, otherwise it might get a bit embarrassing. Last of all is how small a target you are to enemies. It doesn't matter how excellent a shot a player may be, an ELC from a distance is a ridiculously hard target to hit. Unfortunately, ELC drivers very often suffer from a particular problem that I like to call YouTube-induced megalomania. They see all those videos on YouTube where an ELC runs amok in the enemy base without getting a scratch, so they go out and try to replicate it, thinking they're invincible over and over again. I am guilty of this. In just 2 videos ago, I uploaded a ridiculous, albeit hilarious, replay in the ELC where the enemy team couldn't have shot straight if their lives depended on it. But that'll only happen like 1 in 20 games at best. The majority of the time, they'll see an ELC rush in and they'll be all over you like a fat chick in a cupcake store. You're going to die very quickly. So what will you do? You might be listening to the amazing camouflage, good gun, but no armor and 400 HP and thinking, oh yeah, righto, so I'll sit up the back with the lads and just snipe at the enemy all day. They won't ever see me. Winner, chicken dinner. No, hold it right there. Your mastery of Australian slang is fair dinkum, but your plan is awful. Sniping from the back with this tank, up with the tank destroyers, is an absolute no-no, and there's a stack of reasons why. First off, have you stopped to think of what the DPM of the ELC's 90mm is? After all, it has a 12-second reload with 240 alpha damage. Let's see now, 5 rounds a minute with 240 average, that's 1,200 damage every minute. That is just not good enough for a sniping tank. Long-range tank destroyers, even at tier 5, do much more than that. I'm not having a dig at the tank destroyer shooting from the back either. The idea of being a long-range sniper is that you are doing nothing but doing damage. So it's very important that you're able to do a lot of it. Otherwise, you just aren't doing enough for the team. 1,200 damage a minute, at best, is not doing enough. Secondly, the one thing I didn't mention about the 90mm gun is the accuracy. It sits at a solid 0.38. Now, if you had 0.38 accuracy on a heavy tank, you'd be quite satisfied. If you had that on a medium, you'd be okay with it. If you had that on a loud tank destroyer, and by that I mean a tank destroyer that gets far closer to the fight, to the point that the enemy always knows you're there, then you'd be fine with it as well. But if you plan on sniping from long range, 0.38 is just not going to cut it, ladies and gentlemen. Combine that with the shitty shell velocity, there's a very real chance of you missing. Lastly, You're a goddamn light tank with the single best camouflage rating on the move in the entire game, and you want to snipe? No. You're looking at situations where you're up the back all comfy and shit and there's nothing for you to shoot at. Well, damn. Wish we had some light tanks to go and spot. Oh, right, the ELC. You should be out there. You should actually be capable of spotting them. There is a time to use the gun. It's just not from the back of the map where you're probably going to miss it and your DPM is comparable to a tier 4. Alright, it's just not an option. A friend of mine who we'll call Soapy has his first mark in his ELC. I have 3, but he has his 1. And he earned, in inverted commas, that mark through just sniping. The issue is that you just can't do enough damage from the back of the map to get anything more than 1 mark in this tank. So many people drive the ELC very badly because of that very serious and very trademarked illness I mentioned before. So being better than them is not actually as hard, as long as your brain is engaged. 1 mark, not too hard to get, but getting more than that can be extremely difficult. Don't even get me started on 3 marks. Too late, you've got me started. You need to consistently do at least 1,200 damage and 500 assisted damage every game to maintain 3 marks of excellence. That shit's chronic, man. So that's pretty much all of the raw statistics out of the way. Aren't you glad I'm not like, every other YouTuber who focuses on the garage for the first half of the video? That would have been nearly 16 minutes of just, looking at the garage. How boring would that have been? Anyway, we need to cover how the hell one is supposed to actually drive this thing, which is kind of important and a little bit hard to describe. Other YouTubers will tell you things like, what you got to do is hit and run, right? Just hit and run. I just like to apologise to Jingles and Quickie Baby real quick due to that awful attempt at a British accent. I won't do it again. Okay, I probably will, just not in this video. Anyway, others will also tell you to snipe, some will tell you to scout, and who knows what else. The correct answer is E, all of the above. Got you with the old all of the above trick, didn't I? Works every time. In all seriousness though, you need to be doing all of these things, but it's entirely dependent on what's going on. If you do any of these things for the entire game, there's a very real chance you won't get a great end result. Normally you do all of these things during a single game, normally in different stages. In the general game, how you should be playing is a question of how much time has elapsed. At the start of the game, you'll normally be doing passive spotting, just sitting in a bush up the front, lighting up heaps of tanks for your allies to shoot. You won't be doing any shooting. As the game progresses, you'll really put the gun to work, normally from medium range where you're still very hard to see, but you're more likely to hit. But you need to make sure that you remain relatively safe. The ELC is very dangerous at every point in the battle, but it gets exponentially more dangerous the longer the game goes on. Then towards the end, you'll be finishing people off, or giving hit and run attacks to isolated enemy tanks that don't have any friends left, or lying in ambush within a heap of bushes or something. When you do those hit and run attacks, you normally have to get really bloody close so that you aren't going to miss. That aiming time is too nasty for you to stop and aim or shoot from any significant distance on the move. One thing you must learn as an ELC driver is that it's okay to make a run for it. I don't mean go walkabout as soon as there's an enemy tank, but if you're in a situation where there is little chance of success, just bugger off and go see what else you can do. It's more important that you survive rather than get one shot in before dying, which is often what happens when you stay in a dangerous situation. For me, this was a particularly difficult lesson to learn because it's my nature to confront things head on, but the ELC simply does not function like that. If things are looking awry, skedaddle and see what else you can be doing. You'll be far more successful. There are very few tanks that are as dangerous in the end game as the ELC, and that's because of the speed and the stealth. You could be in a bush and you put a shot into some poor sap who now roughly knows where you are. He drives over to where the shell came from, and it's taken him about 20 seconds to get there. So that was pretty quick. Well, you could be bloody anywhere by now. The ELC is an absolute ripper of a tank when it comes to vanishing and turning up somewhere completely unrelated. I've had a whole stack of games where I came close to getting a victory in a 1 versus 5 situation. None yet in the ELC, but one day I'm getting a call up on it, and just you wait. But either way, that's only the general procedure for playing this machine. The single most important skill to have when you're running this thing isn't being a great driver nor being a marksman, though if we're being honest it would certainly be helpful. More important than that is that you are dynamic. You need to change depending on the situation. Medium tanks are all about this. Your role changes depending on what your team needs, and you need to be constantly asking yourself, what does my team need? What role should I be taking? It's one of the hardest things to learn in World of Tanks, but it's a universal skill, since that kind of big picture situational awareness is helpful in almost every tank, except artillery maybe, but they're just sky cancer anyway. It's definitely something worth practicing. But overall, you can specialize in all sorts of different things. These two friends of mine, both of whom I've mentioned, Soapy and Wisher, have ELCs. Yet between the three of us, none of us have the same setup of equipment, and indeed, we all focus on one of three main styles. My ELC focuses very heavily on stealth. I have a camo net, optics, and binoculars, and my crew is maxed out on camouflage, and I have Sixth Sense. Side note, I don't care what kind of ELC you're going to operate, you really need Sixth Sense. Do whatever you have to do to get your commander with that perk. It's absolutely critical. Anyway, back to my point. Mine is focused on being sneaky and then also a bit of view range with the optics and binocs. Which means I'm normally quite close to my opponents, putting shots in and either backing in a cover or remaining invisible depending on whatever's going on. Wisher, on the other hand, doesn't bring a camo net. Instead, he loads improved ventilation to boost his commander's ability to spot enemies, and his commander is loaded out with the skills to even further increase his view range. He focuses on his ability to scout. His view range is absolutely legendary, of course, he's just not as sneaky as me. Lastly, there's Soapy, and he has a rammer, gun rammer, to speed up his reload because he wants to fire as often as possible. All three of these setups are acceptable, though honestly I feel like you should capitalize on the camouflage or the view range. Soap isn't running the best setup. But ultimately it's up to you. You might even want to blend these three together and have a more balanced ELC. It doesn't matter. It really does just come down to how you play. And that is pretty much everything I can say without actual vision in front of me. So how about we look at some actual replays, eh? I know what I normally do is load up the lowest experience Ace Tanker replay so that you know how much XP you need for Ace and what kind of damage you need to do for it. Trouble with that is that the lowest XP Ace is usually awfully boring. So 1100 experience doing about 2000 damage. There, no need to go through a whole damn replay just to tell you that. Instead, how about we see a replay or two of the ELC getting driven exceptionally well. So we're starting off on a replay on Steeps, which is honestly one of my favourite maps in the ELC. I've had many good games with the ELC and the Lukes and pretty much any light tank on this map. You wouldn't think so, but bloody good map. This replay, however, was from a little while ago. It was very shortly after I got Sixth Sense, which was, I don't know, it was a while after I got 2 Marks of Excellence, so I got Sixth Sense. And by the end of this replay, if you're anything like me, you'll be very tempted to take your own life. That's how disappointing the ending to this game is. I know I certainly did. I had to put down the game for quite a while. It's my own fault, but God, a small piece of me died that day. So if you look over to the left, you'll see an AMX ELC very aggressively spotting. I'm actually surprised how long he survives. He gets an accolade by the, he gets accolades from his teammates, but good lord, he's got to be a psycho. But if it's stupid but it works, well, it's probably still stupid. Oh, an ELC, hello. Track only. Well, I guess I should be glad it didn't miss entirely. Let's get a better look at that ELC, actually. Ah, it's the stock gun. It doesn't have the muzzle brake on the end of the gun, which means it is the stock gun from the AMX 40. The AMX 40's gun was crap even in tier 4. And also that ELC was on, what was he, like 205 health or something? My average damage is 240. The guy managed to survive. On 1 HP, no less. So clearly, the random number generator has it in for me. It's absolutely unconscionable. Clearly against me. Oh. Engine fire. And he doesn't pack a fire extinguisher. Actually, you know what? I reckon random number generator and I, we're all squared out. We'll call it even Stevens at that point. You know, I scratched my back, fair enough. And if I had quicker fingers, I could have gotten that guy. If I also had a little bit of luck, but thought I'd predict where he was going to be. Don't think I have to tell you that I failed. The team score's not looking too bad. 4-4, 4-5. You know, we're not doing too bad. But I've played out my position here. I don't have anything else I can do. So about time to move up. I know the guy's alone. The Chaffee already skedaddled off a little while ago. So which way is he going to be facing? Oh, probably not around this way. Surely not. Oh, he's seen me now, and there he is. But yeah, he wasn't going to be saved. Catch you later, Murray. Keep running off, because I'm probably still spotted, and you never know. That Hummel, you'd think artillery wouldn't take shots at little light tanks that are, you know, shorter than an Australian male, but they do, and sometimes they hit, sometimes they splash you and do serious damage, kill both of your crew, and you're left with no crew left alive. It's happened to me before, and I would not like it to happen again. So, go back until I'm no longer seen, and time to go hunt artillery. That is my #1 plan. Because frankly, who doesn't want to kill artillery? I have wet dreams about it sometimes. Oh, Chino, he's not seen me. Cool. Aiming. Oh, the aiming time's actually really quick. It's constantly aimed. I can clutch shots all the time. Okay, now he's definitely... No, he hasn't. Yeah, I'm recording. My roommate really did just knock on my door to check up on me because he hadn't seen me all day. He knew I was recording. Surely he knew I was recording. I'm so dumb. Anyway, let's go find that Chino. Whereabouts is the fella? He's got to be around here somewhere. I still can't see him. And up there, he's definitely fucking seen me now. No questions about it. It's all over Red Row. He's not paying attention. I mean, he spotted me, but... Wow, he was very tunnel vision. It's alright. Hang around for a little while, and I know where that Hummel was last seen. Did you see that shell tracer flying through the sky? I did. I'm a very observant little ELC driver, so I know where he is. And I said, yes, indeed, Hummel. I have no idea what they're talking about. That's Vietnamese, in case you were curious. No idea what they're saying, but yeah, I know where you are, mate. And there he is. Ooh, how should I kill this guy who's not paying attention? Off goes his track, and time to get in my favourite position. I don't know whether you know, but Australians love this. Wow, that's inappropriate. He's not going to fix his track in time, and I actually think he liked it. Anyway, at this point, I looked at the team scores, because I noticed that Sherman Jumbo in the chat said noob term, and for a moment I was distracted because I was looking at my keyboard and thinking, R is not very close to A. Maybe if he was going to spell team as with a double E, then I would be able to forgive his mistype, but at the same time, that'd mean he tried to spell team with 2 E's, so, you know, what's worse? Anyway, I noticed that the team is indeed losing. So, okay, first up, may as well damage this Cromwell. You'll note that all 3 of those enemy tanks are a one-shot kill, provided I get an even close to average damage roll. Though technically it's possible to do 180 average damage in this thing. It's happened a few times. Okay, and... oh yeah! Bad aim time and low shell velocity. Fun fact, if that shot had hit, it's a very high chance that I would have won this match. Yeah, you can already see where this is going. Alright, well, definitely not going to be able to beat them all at once, so it's about time to run away. Good thing about running away is it spreads out your opponents. They were all clumped together, but they don't all go at the same speed, so it's a very good way to split them all up. So, move over to where I found bushes. That's what men do, is they get into bushes. I don't know how men function. Alright, and I've been seen, I haven't been seen, and so I moved into the open where I could be seen, because it's an advanced tactic. The enemy does not see it coming. He's now a one-shot kill. 38 and 8. This is all seeming very doable. Oh, wow. That Hetzer hit me with a high explosive round, but it hit my tracks, and so it didn't do full damage. And if anyone's curious, I live in Brisbane, that is in Queensland, Australia, and if you would like to come over to my house and end my life, I think I'd actually be down with that. Because I think at this point I've lost the will to live. My engine's damaged, so I don't have a repair kit, so Please end my suffering. Next up, we are on South Coast, a map that has now been removed. Oh, in this replay, I'm actually playing with Soapy, who... Have I shown any replays of him and I playing together? I don't think there are many. But Soap360, playing with me, two good pals, having a good game in ELC. Surely what can go wrong? Spoiler alert, we lose this game and Soapy dies very early. Sorry, not one for dramatic suspense. This map is actually, I honestly think it is the ELC's favourite map, or it would be if it was still in game. I feel like that probably drops its favour down a little bit, but it's got plenty of places to run, it's got plenty of things you can hide behind, little ridges and things like that, lots of areas for you to snipe from if that becomes what you need to do, and lots of bushes. Did I mention it has lots and lots of bushes? It's bloody good, lots of bushes. So we come over to this side for a start, and we decide, oh yeah, we may as well spot. I have to admit though, I do significantly less spotting than Soapy does, but then again, I also do significantly less dying. In fact, I actually don't die during this entire game. Are you proud of me, Mum? Anyway, we're going to look around, looking for something to do. Not a whole lot going on. You can basically hear Soapy getting pummeled every time he pops out and gets spotted. Hello, Marta 38T. No? Nothing doing? Nothing doing? Just hovered over him just long enough to signal for the team to kill him. That way artillery can... No, wait, there's no artillery this game. What a waste. Chaffee? No. Okay. Leopard looks like he wants to... Oh, he does. And knocked off his outside drive wheel. Well, I tracked him. I think that's my contribution to the team pretty much done. The rest of the team, I'm basically carrying them at this point. I really need to pick up their act. However, Soapy is dead. Moment of silence for Soap McTavish. It's very sad. I think I'm going to cry. I'm kidding. I don't have tears. Anyway, so I decided to fall back and come up a different way and snipe from the side, like any smart ELC would, because there was no point staying up there and fighting, because what was I going to do? I could have probably gotten a few shots in and then keeled over and died. So I come up here to snipe over here, which is about as interesting as the last position, or at least it was at first. But before you get bored and click off, first of all, there's a lot of funny clips at the end of this video, and secondly, this replay gets very exciting very quickly, to the point that it's just, well, there was a rush. It was very much a rush. Huh? I hear explosions on the ground, and I feel like they're aimed at me. If you're wondering why those sounds are so good, is because it's the Gnome Father's realistic gun sound mod. Hello, Chaffee. Gnome Father's realistic gun sounds mod is just beautiful. I'm pretty damn sure I've been spotted at this point. I don't actually have Sixth Sense during this replay. I had my 2 marks before I got Sixth Sense. Yeah, let's get the hell out of there. Pull in here. Ooh, is that Chaffee going to make a run for me? I think he's going to make a run for me. Here he comes. Here he comes. He's going. He's going. Oh. Okay. He made a valiant attempt at attacking the M6. He died in a hail of gunfire fighting for his country. It's the way every American should go. Oh god, that's morbid. Anyway, so I crawl back up to where I was before, and this time I want to move a bit further along, because why not? You do this enough, you get pretty fucking bored. And if you notice on the map, the team score is 3-9, so we're doing pretty good. We could be doing a little bit better, you know, like maybe 9-9, but here we go. Good shot into the side of the turret. Whoa! Did you see how far to the left that went? No, that was about as left as Bernie Sanders, for God's sake, that was ridiculous. But it did still hit, so, you know, can't complain. Jeez, there's a lot of tanks over on the west side, so may as well go over there, have a snipe off there. Ooh, Hellcat. I could go for a Hellcat. No, it's 10 PM, bit hungry, wouldn't mind. Come here, kitty. Yeah, kitty. There he is, good stuff. Now you'll notice Soapy in chat says, this is the game, Paulie. The one where you get that badge, he is referring to the Kolobanov medal, where you stand alone against 5 enemy vehicles and win. I've gotten the badge once before, but I haven't gotten it in the ELC, so he figures, previous to this game I was complaining about how I'd come pretty damn close on several occasions, and not quite got it. You just saw a replay, where I could have gotten a Kolobanov medal, but didn't. And then, to show my immense skills, I attempt to drive up there, and fail. So, hell yeah, if you want to rest the team's chances on a single player, choose me. Heroku Dev, winner of Team 2016. Ultimate team carry. So I decided, fuck that, I'm coming back up here. Oh, leopard. Have I been spotted? Unlikely. From this range, even though he's a light tank with a good view range, I'm a very, very small light tank. Nothing doing. Now, at this it's pretty hard to notice, but relatively close now, the frame rate of the video goes down a bit. But then at one point it got really, really bad, so I had to go back over and record again. So the smoke's at the right of the outside aiming ring. You'll see flashes to a different one, right there, roughly. Wasn't it there? There it is. Because I really had to do a second recording. There's the leopard. One shot into him. He's a one-shot kill. And hide. And it's about to get very exciting. So, no longer spotted. About time I abandon this location, because I figure they're probably going to catch on to the fact that I'm up here. May as well head around. And holy shit, it's a KV2. Run for it. Don't even turn around. Keep going. Slow turret traverse on the KV2. And okay, safe as. I can keep on living my life. Beautiful. There's a leopard. Oh my god, an ELC2. Auto aim and ram kill. Holy shit. I'm not even sure of how many different things went on right then. The ELC popped up. The leopard opened fire. The ELC missed me. That's the upgraded gun. What was that? Ho! Oh, snipers! Snipers on the opposite ridge. I feel like I'm in Gallipoli all over again. So okay, time to abandon this position. And KV2 is dead. That's amusing. Now it's 3 versus 8. Doable. But yeah, no, I'm kind of surprised that I got out of that alive. Now this KV1 on our team is an absolute trooper. He survives through quite a bit. And he was the best player on the team, aside from me. So good on him. So I'll come around. I figure the leopard has to die. I mean, the thing is really mobile. The KV1 is now the only other ally on my team alive, and he decides he's going to face off against however many other people want to meet their end, basically. So I come down here. Marta 38T, there's the leopard. Oh, you are so dead, mister. What? That... Can we see that again? Yep, thank you. That just bounced off a leopard. Please kill me. Anyway, let's hug the leopard. Okay, pretty much safe. I back up too soon, but... okay, he's dead. KV1 just said in chat, come. As in, come get me. I don't think you're gonna survive that fight. That's a Hellcat, a T150, and a G1R. GG, ladies and gentlemen. KV1's down. They're capping our base. And I decide at this point, yeah, I'm not going to be able to win this. I might be able to get to the base, but no. And I'm trying to goad them in the chat, just come get me, because I don't want them to cap. Hello, Marta 38T. Wouldn't mind killing you. Beautiful. In hindsight, I should have rushed right down the southern-eastern side and come up through the base. It's probably that SARL capping the base, so I would have had time. But yeah, no, I didn't. Either way, very unlikely it was going to be a victory. However, it was still a very well played game. It was a fucking lot of fun. And that's pretty much it. So we're almost at an end to the ELC review. It has been a great deal of fun. It's also been very long. And after this, we'll have a beautiful blooper reel for my intro, which, while it looked rather epic with all the drifts and stuff like that, all of the actual stunts, except for the very first one, were performed stunts, which Wisher helped me record. They took a while. I didn't get all of them done on the first try. I got none of them done on the first try, and my failures were actually relatively amusing. Before we get on to that, though, there are a few things I want to mention. First off, oh God, I have a big list. First off, this video took a bloody long time to make. These are the notes that I took for the video, and then I did one recording, went over it, wrote out the script for it, and then fiddled with that, and then re-recorded, because I'm just thorough like that. How else do you think I'm going to put that many dank memes in there? Come on. So these videos take a bloody long time when I'm doing reviews, largely because I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to video editing, so big learning process. Removing all of those p sounds from, because my microphone's shitty, it's really careful business. I don't know how anyone else does it. Well, I imagine they just get better quality microphones from the start, but that's not the point. So these videos take a long time when I'm doing good quality reviews, so I'm just wondering whether I should upload a stack of really good replays that I've had in different machines. So I've got a whole bunch of replays in my third and in my YAG88, in the ELC, in the T34, really good replays, but none of which I really thought belonged in a review, or they just didn't fit or whatever. If I would upload those, 2 or 3 of those, similar to how Jingles does it, I could have videos out much more frequently. If you're interested in that, please let me know in the comments section, because there's been a while of me wondering, but then it occurred to me, why don't you just fucking ask him, you Darrow? But that is the question posed. Secondly, I want to apologize for the inconsistent frame rates and the inconsistent aspect ratio. For some of the videos that I recorded, I was trying to control the frame rate with little success, and I thought that having it not in full screen mode, but just windowed mode on my computer would help with it. I'm not even sure if it did. It probably didn't actually, but that's why some of the clips have black on the top and bottom, because it was, shrunk down a little bit. So I'm sorry about that, and I'm sorry about the frame rate. Frame rate I can't really do much about, but I will at least make the aspect ratio consistent in the future. Sorry. Lastly, on my long list of things that no one really cares about, but things I need to mention, what tank should I review next? Here is all of the tanks that I have in my garage, and here is, by nation, all of the different tanks that I have researched and so can buy back. I was originally going to do my Tiger 1 review next, but then I thought, well, why don't you just fucking ask him? Because there are a lot of tanks, particularly ones I've owned, things like the 3001P was getting a lot of mentions on my Tiger P video. Things that are very hard to drive, that I've basically gotten good enough at driving. So let me know what tank you want me to review, and chances are I'll be able to do it. Though, good lord, if you tell me the M3 Lee, I'm so fucking done with a lot of you. I'm not doing the Lee. Oh, one other thing, my replay manager, making an update for it, and it'll be releasing at some point very soon, within the next few weeks. God, it would take me 2 days to finish the code. I'm fucking all over the place, and uni starts again soon. But either way, the upgrade for it is extensive, so keep an eye out for that. And without further ado, the bloopers. I'm actually worried about the oh, fuck. Oh my fucking, oh my